Okay, good evening, my esteemed students. Please, I'm very sorry for the delay. We are trying to. Uh, sorry, you can leave this one. Mute. All right. Mute. We are trying to resolve some technical issues here. That is why um, the live session is a bit delayed. Sorry. Now we are actually going to be having discussion on GNS 301, use of English 3. Now I will tell you some basic things about the exam, the structure of the exam. Um, like I've told you before, the exam question for this paper is going to be divided into 4 different sections. Section A, Section B, Section C, and Section D. Now, the first section, they are going to be answering questions on grammar and sentence structures. That's Section A. We are going to test your knowledge of how to analyze sentences into SPCA. Then we are going to test your ability to differentiate between different types of sentences using either structural parameter or using functional parameter. Then, still on that section A, we are going to test your knowledge of Concord, the rules of Concord. Then, we are going to test your knowledge of the English tenses. Now, for tense and Concord, it's going to be alternative. So the exam is going to be in 2 options. The option A, people that be answering questions on option A, that is the first set who are writing their GNS 301, the first set to write their GNS 301. If they answer question on Concord, then it means they won't be answering question on tense. But if you answer questions on tense, that means you will be answering question on Concord. So the last part is either on tense or Concord. So that is all for section A. Then section B, that's going to be on logic. Most of the things we have done on logic, meaning of logic, principles of logic, usefulness of logic, then some terms used in logic like fact and opinion, fallacy, syllogism, reasoning, types of reasoning, deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning. You are going to be answering questions on most of them. That is section B. Then section C, we are going to give you essay writing questions. We are going to give you about 3 topics. You are going to choose one of the topics and you're going to write essay on the topic. Now, for that section, I'm going to explain to you what we expect you to do with any topic you are taking. So please, I want you to stay online till the end of the lecture. I'm going to be explaining some things, even on the essay aspect, what we expect you to write, how we expect you to plan your essay, and the yardsticks, the parameters we are going to be using to mark your essay. Then the last section is going to be on literature in English. So in literature in English, we are going to ask you questions on the poetry collections, the recommended literature text, the poetry text. We are going to be asking questions from the poetry collection there. So for that aspect, I will advise that from your anthology, that is the textbook recommended for the poetry, please read about 2 or 3 poems. Just read 2 or 3 poems and make sure you understand some basic things. The message, the central message, the central idea in the poem, then how is any of the poem reflecting the issues in the society, then what are the basic themes, the salient themes that you can uh, bring out from each of the poems. Then what are and how is the poem like I said, how is the poem reflecting happening in the society? So that is the aspect. So to explain all this, we are going to treat about 2 past questions. Now, if time permits us, we are going to treat about 2, but if not, we are going to treat just 1 past question. Um, I'm going to treat one of the past questions that you have probably seen. I asked your class reps to send some past questions to you. So I will be taking one of them. Now let's try and treat the past question for this section. That's 2021-22 academic session. Use of English 2021-22 academic session. Yes, let's read that question. If you have it, you can follow it like that. Like I told you, the first aspect is grammar and sentence structure. Now, let's take, for example, the question 1 here in section A, grammar. Question 1 says, analyze the following sentences into SPCA. Analyze the following sentences into SPCA. We are given 5 sentences here to analyze into SPCA. Question 1. Now, please, I may not be able to analyze the sentence on the board, but if you have the question with you, question 1 says, during the examination, we killed a snake in the hall. During the examination, we killed a snake in the hall. How do we analyze that into SPCA? Don't forget, SPCA means S for subject, the P for predicator, the C for complement, and the A for adjunct. So the formula for the analysis is SPCA, subject, predicator, complement, and adjunct. So question number 1 now, the first sentence. During the examination, we killed a snake in the hall. Now we have during the examination, that is specifying a particular time. That is adjunct. That is adjunct. So you underline that and you write A under it. Underline it and write A. During the examination is adjunct. We is the subject of that sentence. Underline we and write S under it. Then killed a snake in the hall. Killed is the only verb in that sentence, and that is the predicator. Underline killed and under it write predicator. Then a snake. A snake is the complement in that sentence. A snake is the complement. Is the complement. Then in the hall is the adjunct. So for this sentence, we have A, S, P, C, A. So don't forget, when you analyze a sentence, you are going to write the summary of the sentence. Please, the technical crew here want to know if you can hear me clearly. Just put your comments in the comment section if you can hear me, or if not, you can still put your comments, please. Now, whenever you analyze your sentences, please, is the board showing, please? All right, after the analysis, please, you write the summary. The summary of your analysis, you write it in brackets. And that is just like when you work out mathematics solution. Then the last part of the answer is what we are going to mark. So just like that, in this aspect too, your summary is very important. We are going to have SPCA, ASPCA. That is for the first sentence there. Don't forget I said during the examination is adjunct. Is telling us about the time. That is adverb of time. Then we is the subject. Killed, killed is the predicator. A snake, then a snake is, excuse me please. Okay. Okay. I want to change this marker to black so that you can see it clearly. So we have A, S, P, C, A. Please, whatever you have as your reaction, please put it in the comment section. I think you can see that. So please write your summary at the end of each sentence. Write your summary. So we, the subject, killed, the predicator, a snake, the complement, the in the all, another adjunct. So that is for sentence number 1. Then sentence number 2, the presidential candidate is coming today. The presidential candidate is coming today. So we have the presidential candidate. The whole of that is the subject of the sentence. The presidential candidate, that is the subject, is coming. You underline the two together. You know, when you have a big form of the verb like that, like is, are, was, were, and am. So whatever verb that is following it should be analyzed, should be underlined with the main verb. So the main verb is. Then you're going to underline is and coming together. Is coming is going to be the predicator. Then today is the adjunct. That is adverb of time. So the presidential candidate is coming today. The presidential candidate, the subject, is coming, the predicator, then today, the complement. So for that, we have subject, predicator, complement, and adjunct. Okay, we don't have complement in that sentence. We have SPA. So for number 2, it is SPA. The subject, the predicator, and the adjunct. So the subject, the presidential candidate, then is the predicator. Sorry, is coming, the predicator, then today, the adjunct. Then number 3, sentence number 3. Yesterday, I saw the woman in my dream. Yesterday, I saw the woman in my dream. All right, you see, yesterday is the adjunct. You underline yesterday, that is adjunct. I, the subject, then saw, the predicator, the woman, the complement, in my dream, the adjunct. So we have A, S, P, C, A. So yesterday, adjunct, I, subject, saw, predicator, the woman, complement, in my dream, adjunct. The number 4, sentence number 4, the rector promised to improve the institution. The rector promised to improve the institution. All right. So the subject of this sentence is the rector. So you underline the rector, and that is our S. Then promised, the predicator, to improve the institution. That is an adjunct. So remember, whenever you have a preposition coming before a group of words, now that already tells you that it is prepositional phrase. And once it's prepositional phrase, it's performing the function of an adverb. So sentence number 5, the bandits were arrested yesterday in Ondo. by Amotekun Squad. All right. When you are given a sentence like this is a sentence in the passive voice. Now, you remember in a passive voice, the doer of the action will now become the object of the sentence, whereas the now that receives the impact of the action, which is originally the object, will now become the subject of the sentence. Now, the subject of this sentence is formally the object of the sentence, and that's the bandit. The bandit is the subject now, the grammatical subject of the sentence. So the bandit subjects were arrested, that is the predicator, yesterday, adjuncts, in Ondo, adjuncts, by Amotekun Squad, that's another adjunct. Now, you may query the last part, which is by Amotekun Squad, that why is it an adjunct? Don't forget, like I said before, by is a preposition. Okay, by is a preposition. Okay, some people sent a comment to treat sentence number 3 again. Okay, all right, we'll go over sentence number 3 again. Yesterday, I saw the woman in my dream. Yesterday, I saw the woman in my dream. Yesterday is adjunct. Yesterday is adjunct. Don't forget that is adverb of time. Yesterday, adjunct, I, subject, saw, that is the predicator. The woman is the complement of the verb saw. Then in my dream, that is another adjunct. That is an adverb of place. So yesterday I saw the woman in my dream. So yesterday adjunct, I, subject, saw, predicator, the woman, complement, in my dream. That is another adjunct. So we have A, S, P, C, A. ASPCA, that is the summary of the analysis. All right, number 5. I will go back to number 5 again. The bandits were arrested yesterday in Ondo by Amotekun. So I said the bandits, that's the subject of the sentence, were arrested, that is a predicator, yesterday, adjuncts, in Ondo, adjuncts, by Amotekun Squad, adjuncts. I was trying to explain the other time that by Amotekun Squad, in a passive voice sentence, the by phrase, we call it by phrase. Well, for example, when you say John loves Mary. So if you change it to passive voice, you say Mary was loved, or Mary is loved by John. You know, Mary has become the subject of the sentence now because we are mentioning Mary at the beginning of the sentence. That's technically become the subject of the sentence. So Mary was loved by John. So the by phrase by John has now become an adjunct because of the preposition by. So whenever we have a preposition introducing a group of words, most of the time we have them as prepositional phrase, and prepositional phrases perform the function of adverb. We can also call them adverbial phrases. So that's an adjunct. So by Amotekun Squad is an adjunct. So here we have subject, that is S, P, A, A. So S, P, A. So in that sentence, we do not have complement at all. No complement at all. So we have the adjunct, the predicator, another adjunct, followed by another adjunct, and followed by another adjunct. So that is S, P, A. So that is all for the first aspect of the grammar section, the first set of sentences. So the second set of sentences, we have 5 sentences again. And the question says, identify the tenses underlined in the following sentences. Identify the tenses underlined in the following sentences. Okay, number 1, we are writing our examinations. We are writing our examinations. So our writing is underlined, and they're asking us for the type of tense that is underlined. So are writing, that is present continuous tense. We are writing our examinations. Our writing is underlined. That is present continuous tense. The examination is still ongoing, and at the time of this statement, it is still progressing. So that is present continuous. So number two, the lecturer had quit his former office per our resumption. All right, had quit. That is present, sorry, past perfect tense. Past perfect tense. So had quit, when we have had um, followed by a verb, that is indicating past perfect tense. Remember, for those that I taught in the class about past participle tense, or sorry, past perfect tense, it means we have two events, whereas one came before the other. So the lecturer had quit his former office. Now, then another event is our resumption. Our resumption then um, has shown that we have two events. One came before the other one. So that is past perfect tense. Then number three, the class governor wrote a letter on our behalf. That's actually a simple past tense. A simple past tense. Wrote. The underlined verb there is wrote, and that verb is in the simple past form. So number four, we have written a letter of apology to him. We have written a letter of apology to him. Now compare this to the sentence we have in number two. The lecturer had quit. Uh, Number four is present perfect tense, whereas number two is past perfect tense. So we have written. Have written is present perfect tense. That is a completed action in the present time. So number five, she likes a man dearly. She likes a man dearly. Likes there is simple present tense. Like I explained to some of you in class. Now, when we say simple present tense, um, when they ask you to explain what it means, most of the time you say uh, simple present tense expresses something that is happening now, which is very wrong. Simple present tense does not explain what is happening now, but it explains what happens regularly, an habit. She likes her man dearly. It's different from when you say something like um, she's eating noodles. She is eating noodles. That is present continuous. But if you say she likes noodles, she likes noodles is simple sentence, simple, simple present tense. So because it is an habit, it has become an habit for that person. She likes, she likes. So it's simple present tense. So that is all for the second part of section A. The last part of section A is concord. Concord. Now the question says, spot the errors in each of the following sentences according, um, sorry please, spot the errors in each of the following sentences and correct them appropriately. Spot the errors in each of the following sentences and correct them appropriately. Number one. Now, let me explain something here. Now, some of the times we'll give you 5 sentences and we ask you to correct the errors of concord there. But it is very likely that we had one sentence that is correct and we ask you to correct again. So if you try to make any adjustment to it, then you are making it incorrect. So make sure you understand your rules of concord very well, because it is very likely we give you sentence that is already correct and we ask you to correct it. But in this case now, question number one, the sentence number one is, who deserve the blame if not God? Who deserve the blame if not God? Now, what error is in this sentence? Now, ordinarily you see some sentences and you think there is nothing wrong with this sentence. Now, who deserve the blame? Who is a singular subject. A singular subject must take a singular noun. Like I taught you in the class, singular subject will take a singular verb. Now, a singular verb will always carry an S. A singular verb will always carry an S. So when you have a singular subject now, which is who, then it must be deserves. Who deserves the blame? Who deserves the blame? Then the second part of the sentence, if not God's. There are two things that are wrong with that. If not, an article has been omitted, it must have an article they. If not the gods. If not the gods. So the sentence now reads, who deserves the blame if not the gods? But there's another thing that is wrong with the sentence. It is supposed to have a question mark after it. So if you don't put that question mark, even if you correct it, even if you have done other corrections like adding S to deserve, then adding the article D to, before God, and you fail to put a question mark, you are not going to get any mark. So make sure you check your correction clearly, check it adequately to see if there's still any error there. So who deserves the blame if not the gods? Question mark. That is the correct version of the sentence. Sentence number 2 now. The manager, together with the council members, were at the meeting yesterday. The manager, together with the council members, were at the meeting yesterday. So there is a rule of concord that we call accompaniment rule. Accompaniment rule says that when you have a subject that's a singular subject, having accompaniment marker like together with, as well as, in conjunction with, in association with. Now you must treat the subject as singular, or already the subject is singular there. Then that together with is just an accompaniment. It is not in any way making the subject to be plural. It is still a singular subject. So it's going to be the manager together with the council members was at the meeting yesterday. Was at the meeting yesterday, not were at the meeting yesterday. We have only one person that we are discussing here, and that's the manager. So you see that together with, we call it accompaniment in the rules of concord. So you are not going to make them part of the subject. So the subject is the manager. Then we have accompaniment there together with the council members. You remove them. So we have the manager with the council members was at the meeting yesterday. So let's put the sentence like this. You see that it is still meaningful. The manager was at the meeting yesterday with the council members. The manager was at the meeting yesterday with the council member. So it does not make any difference. Now, if you add together with the subject, so we are going to have the manager together with the council members was at the meeting yesterday. Number 3, Yeti is one of the ladies who likes this course. Yeti is one of the ladies who likes this course. Now, when you have a sentence like this, and you have one of, when you have one of and the following noun is in the plural form, it is that noun that you are going to consider, not the first noun, which is the major subject. Now, Yeti is one of the ladies who like this course. Now, the sentences, we have 2 sentences there now. Don't forget, it is a complex sentence. 2 clauses, one main clause, one subordinate clause. Now, but the 2 sentences would be like, Yeti is one of the ladies, which means some ladies like this course. Some ladies like this course, and Yeti is one of them. Yeti is one of them. So we are going to treat the subject as a plural subject, and plural subject will take a plural verb. If plural verb does not have an S with it, so Yeti is one of the ladies who like this course. That is the correct version of the sentence. Then number 4, a number of youth likes his music. A number of youth likes his music. In some textbooks, um, some Authors will tell you when you have a number of something, because we have a number, they will tell you it is denoting singular subject. It is wrong. That is not true. Whenever you mention a number of, you notice that the noun that will come after it is going to be a plural noun, and that's why we have youth. So it's going to be treated as a plural subject. So we have a number of youths like his music, not likes his music. A number of youths like his music. So when you have a number of, treat it as subject, sorry, a plural subject. Now, number 5, the last sentence, we have 500 miles have been covered. 500 miles have been covered. Okay? When you have measurements, whatever number you mention with the measurement, even if you mention 1 million miles, it is still a singular subject. So measurements are determined, measurements are always treated as singular subjects whenever we use them. 500 miles has been covered. 500 miles has been covered. Just like when you have 5 days is not enough to do the job. 5 days is not enough to do the job. Not because we have days, then you think it is a plural subject. No, it is a singular subject. All right, there is a comment that we should treat number 2 again. The sentence in number 2 is the manager, together with the council members, were at the meeting yesterday. I told you that is accompaniment concord. Accompaniment concord is any, if we refer to any sentence that has accompaniment marker in it. So accompaniment markers are markers like together with, in conjunction with, uh, in association with, and so on. All those phrases, we call them accompaniment markers. So whenever you have accompaniment with a subject, now if the subject is singular, you treat the whole subject as singular. Unless the subject is plural, that is when you treat it as plural. But in this case now, the manager is a singular subject. Then, together with the council members, does not make it a plural subject. Together with the council members is just an accompaniment. Now, and I said we can even remove together with the council members from the sentence and put it at the end of the sentence. So, but for the sentence as it is now, we are going to um, put the correct version as the manager together with the council members was at the meeting yesterday. It is only one person that was at the meeting. The manager went to attend the meeting. The council members only accompanied him to the meeting. They were not part of the meeting. They only accompanied the manager, and that is why we treat it as a singular subject. So the manager, together with the council members, was at the meeting yesterday. Now, let me give you another example of such sentence. Like when we say, the man, together with his 10 wives, has traveled to the UK. Has traveled to the UK. The man, together with his 10 wives. You know, the picture we have is picture of 11 people, but it is only one person that traveled, that has the ambition of traveling out, that has a business to do in the UK. So the other people following him, they only went there. For example, if the man has gone on a business trip, those people, those wives accompanying him, were not going with him for any business. So the manager, together with the council members, was at the meeting yesterday. That is the correct version of the sentence. Okay. Any comments on? Please check. Any comments on sentence structure? Number 5. 500 miles have been covered. I said whenever we are talking about measurements, any measurement, miles is a measurement, meters is a measurement, days, weeks, all of them are measurements. Whenever you mention, yes, half, quarter, they are all measurements. So whenever you mention measurements, we treat them as singular subjects. Like I gave you example of 5 days. 5 days is not enough. Not 5 days are not enough. 500 miles has been covered. That is the correct version. 500 miles has been covered. 500 miles has been covered. So the verb that is strong there is have. So instead of have, we have has. It's a singular verb. All right. So the second section is logic. We have an expert, a philosopher in the studio, who is going to treat the questions on logic. Um, like I told you, logic is not a topic in communication, but because most of the conversations we have day to day are full of arguments, whatever statement you make is going to generate an argument. I told you it's going to rain today. That's an argument. Somebody might say, no, I don't think so. So we have to have uh, some knowledge of logic for if you really want to understand how to analyze arguments, you must have some knowledge of logic. So I have an expert in the studio, um, a philosopher who is going to treat the aspect of logic. But I will leave that. Let me treat the next section so that after the next section, it will come to treat logic with you. Now, section C is essay writing. Don't forget, I told you you are going to write an essay um, in this exam. But okay, somebody is raising a comment concerning number three. Number three is sorry, is this sentence number three or under the last part? Okay, that's three under three. Is it Yeti is one of the ladies who likes this course? I think that is the question the comment is referring to.
Yes.
Okay, Yeti is one of the ladies who likes this course. Now, there are two clauses there. One is the subordinate clause, the other one is the main clause. All right. The main clause is Yeti is one of the ladies. Which ladies? Those ladies that like this course. Now, when you say some ladies like this course, you cannot say some ladies likes this course. Now, Yeti is one of them. So Yeti is one of the ladies who like this course. So the verb there should be like, not likes, because ladies is a plural subject for that sentence. So let's assume we have it as some ladies like this course, and Yeti is one of the ladies who like this course. I think you should understand now. All right. Now there's another comment. Let me see. Is complement the same as object? See, complement is more than object. I told you initially we have a formula for analyzing English sentences as SVO, which is subject verb object. So, but SVO is not adequate enough to analyze English sentences where we have um, extension. That is, we have some sentences that SVO cannot adequately uh, take care of. For example, there is a difference between John uh, slapped Mary and John loves Mary. John loves Mary. Mary in John loves Mary is complement because Mary does not feel the impact of the action from John. Love uh, is not um, a type of verb that receives object, so it will rather receive complement. So Mary is the complement of the verb love in Mary, John loves Mary. But if we say John slapped Mary, Mary in that sentence is object, not complement. So if it is object, it means that now feels the impact of the action in that verb. John slapped Mary. Mary is the object of that verb. Mary received the impact of the action. Mary suffers the consequence of the action. But in John loves Mary, Mary does not feel anything um, from the action projected in that verb. So that is the difference between object and complement. So, but instead of having SVOC, um, the standard formula is now SPCA, where subject stands for, S stands for subject, P stands for the verb, which is predicator. That's for the verb. Instead of V, we have P now. Then complement. Complement is either the object or the complement of the verb. Either of the two, either complement or object. So instead of having object separately and complement separately, then we have a common factor standing for the two, the complement, either object or complement. So the C will take care of the two. So to answer the question now, is complement the same as object? Complement in SPCA and object, they mean the same thing. So we are not using object anymore in SPCA. So it is complement. Okay. Another question, another comment here is, can we summarize it as SPA for number 5? Number 5. What do we have in number 5? The bandits were arrested yesterday in Ondo by Amatekun. So the bandits subject, that is S, were arrested, that is predicate of P, yesterday, A, in Ondo, A, by Amatekun, A. So the summary would be S, P, A, A, A. S, P, A, A, A. This is it. S, P, A, A, A. So can you see it? So that is the bandit subjects were arrested, predicator. Yesterday, adjuncts in Ondo, adjuncts by Amatekun squad, adjuncts. So we have it as SPAA. That's number 5. Now, then the last one, please, sir, do all sentences end with an adjunct? No, it's not compulsory that we have adjunct as the last element. So there are sentences without an adjunct. So we can have SPC. We can have sentences that are only SPC. For example, if I say John loves Mary, that is SPC. Whereas John is the subject, loves is the predicator, and Mary is the complement. So we have SPC. So SPC, C, that is complement that can end a sentence. And we can also have adjunct. It's not compulsory. Then remember I said adjunct is an optional element in any sentence. If you have a sentence with adjunct, remove the adjunct, the sentence will still be meaningful. But you cannot do that for the predicator and the complement. It will not be meaningful again. So predicator is the most compulsory element in any sentence. That is the verb. There is no sentence without a verb. But we can have a sentence without a complement. You can have a sentence without an adjunct. But we can never have a sentence without the verb, which is the predicator. So any of them may be absent. Either adjunct or complement may be absent in a sentence, but we must have a predicator. Okay. So I think we can now go back to section C, which is essay writing. Like I told you, we are going to write an essay, but it's not a big deal at all. So for essay writing, we are going to give you 3 topics. The 3 topics will be from any 4 types of essay. We have 4 types of essay. Conventionally, we have narrative essay, descriptive essay, argumentative essay, and expository essay. So narrative essay is any essay that will ask you to tell a story or give an account of a particular event that is narrative. Then if it's expository will give you a topic that will make you teach people something they don't know. You are exposing something hidden to people. That is expository essay. Now, if it is descriptive essay, they're going to give you um, a particular item, maybe a person, a place, uh, an object to describe, and you are going to describe that object. That when you are describing it, the person reading it will have a mental picture of what you are describing. It will be like the person is already seeing what you are describing. So you already give it an image, you already give it a color, you already give it a size that anybody will have a mental picture of. So that is descriptive essay. Then argumentative essay is a topic that has two parts where you are going to support one part and against the other part. So you either against or support in argumentative essay. Then the last one, which is which one is that? Descriptive, narrative, expository, and okay, I've explained all. So, but what you're going to do when you are going to write an essay to make it very simple for you, whenever we ask you to write essay, decide uh, to write out your ideas first. For example, if you ask me to write um, an essay on causes of student failures in tertiary institutions, causes. Now, just itemize your ideas. We call it outline. We call it outline. For any essay you want to write, you must have it. So outline should be written at the back of your script. Nobody will ask you not to write at the back of your script. After all, you are going to cancel it after. So write an outline for your essay. So, for example, the topic I just said now, causes of failure. You can have about 5 causes or 4 causes of failure. So write down those causes of failure. If you have 4 causes of failure, it means you already have an essay that will have 6 paragraphs. What does that mean? So each idea you have mentioned, each cause of failure we explained in a paragraph, because a paragraph is the unit of idea where you explain one idea extensively. So it is a paragraph per an idea. So if you have 4 ideas, it means you already have 6 paragraphs in the essay. How is it six paragraphs? You are going to write introduction for your essay, which is very necessary, very compulsory. You must have an introduction for your essay. So the introductory paragraph will make 1 paragraph, and then you are going to have a conclusion for your essay, and that will be concluding paragraph. 2 paragraphs already plus the 4 ideas, that will be 6 paragraphs. So you must have introductory paragraph, you must have concluding paragraph. So just itemize your ideas in an outline. Make an outline for yourself, for your essay. That will make it very easy for you to do. So just introduce your um, essay, and the introduction should be the um, aspect of your essay which will intimate your audience with what you are about to discussing in that essay. So just introduce it. Tell us, I'm going to explain some things concerning this um, subject in discussion. So then that is your introduction. Then you begin to take the points one after the other. Then each point will be in a paragraph, and that you have 4 paragraphs for 4 ideas, or 5 paragraphs for 5 ideas. So in this case now, cancellation of part-time programs in Nigeria polytechnics, to be or not to be, that is an argumentative essay. You are going to support one part. Do you want it to be, or you don't want it to be? So you must be, you must support one side and against the other side. If you want it to be, then itemize your point. Why do you want it to be? This type of essay is for you to prove um, your opinion um, about the side you belong to. Prove it. Tell us why you think that is where you are supporting. So when you are writing the why, then that is when you are already planning the outline of your essay. Then number 2, Nigeria of my dream. Nigeria of my dream is a descriptive essay. Now, what description do you want to give us about the type of Nigeria you are dreaming of? So that is descriptive essay. Then the third question there is the effect of ASU strike on Nigerian education and the way out. Now, for a question like this, I'm going to be telling you some things that make students fail an essay. So the effect of ASU strike on Nigerian education and the way out. It means we are going to discuss two different things in this essay. We are going to tell us the effects and the solution. First, you are going to mention the effects it has on Nigerian education. Then, secondly, you are going to discuss the way out. So, if you have three effects, you have three items to discuss as effect of ASU strike on Nigerian education, then you have three paragraphs already. Then, if you have three suggestions for way out, then you have another three paragraphs, making 6 paragraphs. So, in that kind of essay, you are going to have about 8 paragraphs, including the introductory paragraph and the concluding paragraph. So, with that, you can have a very good essay. Now, how do we mark your essay? There are 4 things that we consider when we mark your essay, and those are the things you must explain. Please get me a cleaner. Okay. So when we mark your essay, we want to look at these 3 things. So these 4 yardsticks. Now, the C here means content. O, organization. E, expression. This MA is mechanical accuracy. Now, the content means the essay you have written. Did you actually write within the context of what we asked you to write? Now, for example, if we ask you to write causes of student failures in tertiary institutions, now, and your essay is telling us solution to student failures. We ask you for causes, not solutions. So you have written out of context. So the content there, you may not score any mark. And when you don't have mark in content, it will affect the other ones too. So when we ask you to write, make sure you write within the content of what we ask you to write. That is your content. Your content must explain what we want you to explain. So, and content and expression, they both carry the highest mark in the 4 parameters. So content, then organization. Organization means how well have you been able to organize your ideas very well. Are you sure your paragraph development goes from a simple to complex, known to unknown, or does it follow chronological arrangement, that is according to time, or sequential arrangement? So how did you organize it? So organize your ideas very well in such a way that one idea will lead to the other one. That is organization. You will have some marks for that. Then expression. Expression is where we mark your use of English. Now, if you make too much errors in your essay, any error we cite, we attract a circle, and a circle is called a ring. So a ring is minus half. Minus half. So when you make an error, we circle it, and that is minus half for you. Now, imagine at the end of your essay, after marking your essay, we have discovered about 10 of these rings. So whatever you score here, let's say you score 11 over 20, sorry, 11 over 15, and you already have 10 rings. So 10 times half, that is 5. We are going to remove 5 from 11. So make sure your essay is error-free so that you will not lose mark in expression. So we call this one expression. So and we mark your grammatical expressions, the way you are able to use English without errors. Then the last one, mechanical accuracy, that is where we mark your punctuations, capitalization. If you are writing a proper noun in your essay and you begin with a small letter, we circle it, and that is minus half again. So mechanical accuracy is where you have to put capital letter, don't put small letter. Where you have to put a comma, don't put full stop. If you have a question, put question mark. If you don't put question mark in the question, we have to help you to put it, but with a ring, and that is minus half. So these 4 things are very important when you're writing your essay. Write within the content of what we ask you to write, then organize your ideas logically, either sequentially or chronologically, from general to specific, from simple to complex, from known to unknown. Then expression, that is your use of English. So you will have a very good essay if you consider this. And the last part, which is literature in English. Sorry, we'll not be able to discuss the second past question, but with this explanation, you'll be able to do something. Just use this discussion to go through the second past question that I've sent to you. So the last section is section D, which is literature in English. So literature in English, specifically for your class, HND 1, we have recommended two different poetry texts for this course. But whichever one you have read in your class, make sure you study at least two, I mean at least two different poems, and make sure you understand the poems. What are you going to take notes of in the poem? Number one, make sure you understand some basic things like the setting. Setting in a poem or any literary work means the time and place reference projected by the poet. In the case of poetry, the time and the space reference projected in it. Okay, then the theme or the themes. Now, definitely a poem will have more than one theme. For example, in a theme, you can have theme of love. In the same poem, you can have theme of hatred. You can have theme of oppression, theme of corruption, um, several things like that. But make sure when you are reading it, know the particular number of themes that you can point out from each of the poems. Now, theme means the central ideas that dominate a particular work of art. So make sure you understand them. Now, theme is very close to when we say the major area that or the major areas that the poet is trying to project when it comes to human life or in the society. So make sure you understand the themes, then make sure you understand how the poem is reflecting what is happening in the society. um, in a question like this, question number one here is this: with close reference to any two poems from the recommended text, clearly discuss the various messages of the poet in his or her literary work. What messages uh, um, are projected in any two poems you have read? So if you have read the poem and you have understood it really, you must be able to understand what message the poet is trying to pass. So you'll be able to discuss it and make sure whenever you are discussing a poem, at least quote a particular part of the poem. That will make us understand that you actually read the poem. Quote a particular aspect of the poem, make reference to a portion of the poem that at this particular place the poet says, and you quote it. And that means in the society we can have people that does this, or I mean people that do this or do that. Okay, that is um, one aspect of it. So make sure you understand the messages in the poem, the several themes in the poem, and how is it reflecting the happening in the society and so on. So that will give you an opportunity to answer any question. Two poems are okay for you to explain anything. So if you can go further, you can read about three and understand. So that is the last part of your questions for GNS 301. Don't forget the first part, you are going to be given several sentences, and you are going to analyze into SPCA, cite grammatical, errors of concord, then tense, and so on. Then the B part, section B, is logic, which we are going to treat right now. Why? Do we have a comment?
Yes.
All right, let me have the comment. Or okay, we attend to any comment after the Okay, I've seen some comments. Please, I will attend to the comments after this session of logic. So I will invite the logic lecturer to come and treat some of the questions here with you. All right, I wish you best of luck for your exams. Nice.
Audio is on. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, thank you very much. You're welcome back, students, to this class. What we are just trying to do is to ensure that we serve you the best as you prepare for the exam. So I'll be taking the aspect of logic for the next 10, 15 minutes. And but just be sure that you're about to handle 15 marks for this course. Please pay attention. We're going to give it the uh, attention it requires also. Please, logic is not hard. All you need to do is to understand it. Very simple. And thank God for the questions we are doing. They are very simple to understand. So if you need to judge some few things, please do that now so that we can enjoy it together. If you have any question also, let's know. If the audio is fine, please let me know so we can continue. Want to appreciate the lecturer for the opportunity to help ourselves as students. Now, the question says define logic. Like I said, this is 15 marks. And if you can pay attention, you can easily get 15 over 15 because logic is if you know the answer, you know the answer. So let us start from the first question. When they say define logic, so you don't need to be stressed about how do I begin to gather English together. Logic can simply be defined as the study of reasoning. Logic can simply be defined as the study of reasoning. The word reasoning there means like thinking, right? Reasoning, ability to reason. So, logic can be defined as the study of reasoning. That's the general definition. However, a scholar, Ivy Copy, he defines logic as the way to differentiate between bad reasoning and good reasoning. All right, Ivy Copy defines logic as the ability to differentiate between bad reasoning and good reasoning. That's a scholar definition. There is a scholar also known as A.G.A. Bello. Just write A.G. Bello. He defined logic as ability to differentiate between uh, deductive argument and inductive argument. That is, arguments that are valid and arguments that are not valid. So these are the different ways to define logic. But simply because of exam, don't bother too much. When you're asked to define logic, just say logic can be defined as the study of reasoning. So, what are the explain any six of its relevance to you as a student? These ones are straightforward. Why do we need logic? Number one, it enables us to think better. It enables us to think better. Number two, it allows us to be able to detect error in reasoning. When somebody is thinking and they are not getting thinking right, you can say, no, that one is wrong. The third one is that it makes us to differentiate between an argument that is valid and an argument that is not valid. All right. The next one is it also enables us to analyze arguments. When somebody is presenting an opinion, you can easily know this one is wrong, this one is true. The next one is logic enables us to identify errors in our reasoning. If your reasoning is not following a good pattern, you can easily identify it. So these are the you can write as many as possible. The next one is that it increases human reasoning capacity. When you do logic, it is believed that you'll be able to think better because you will also know better. So that's that about what is logic. Remember, logic is the study of reasoning, and the reasons for studying logic or the benefit or the importance. In fact, maybe almost all the years, these questions has always been coming out. So please note those ones, the benefit of studying logic. So the next one now is with relevant examples, clearly establish the difference between each pair in the following pairs. That is, they will give you two concepts and tell you to differentiate them. Two concepts and tell you to differentiate them. If you have any question, please just drop it there so we can see it. They will give you two questions or two concepts and tell you to differentiate. All right. Number one, a fact and opinions. Facts and opinion. What are facts? Facts can simply be defined as universal realities or universal truths. Facts can be defined as universal truths. Again, facts are universal truths, while opinion are subjective beliefs. Number one, facts are universal truths. Please note it carefully. Facts are universal truths, while opinions are subjective or personal belief. Facts universal, opinions personal. Please note it. Number two, we are told to differentiate between what's a fallacy and also an assumption. So, what is a fallacy and what is an assumption? So, a fallacy can be defined as mistakes made in reasoning. Fallacy can be defined as mistakes made in reasoning, or mistakes in reasoning, or errors made in reasoning. Fallacy can be defined as either mistakes or errors made in reasoning. Please note it. That's a fallacy. What are assumptions? Assumptions are beliefs or guesses. All right. It can also be referred to as your opinions, your belief system. So they are not facts, they are not really opinions. You are just imagining a state that you have not even verified. Please notice carefully. Assumptions are not universal, they are personal to you. That's that about that. Now, the third one is deductive and inductive reasoning. At this point, let me just take time to explain this one. Inductive and deductive reasoning. All right. So, what are deductive reasoning? Deductive reasoning are the type of reasoning where the premises or the reasons support the conclusion. For example, when we say something is deductive, it means that the reason given support the conclusion. If I say that for me, Nigeria is the best country in the world, and you tell me why did you say that, and I say because the standard of living of the citizens is, is very nice and beautiful, or I say because the economy of the nation is booming well. So when I give you reasons for a conclusion, we say that the reasoning is deductive. That is, the premises support the conclusion. Remember, when I say Lionel Messi is the best footballer in the world, that's a position. Now, what you will tell me, why did you say so? And I'll begin to say that, okay, because this one and because of that one. So all the reasons I'm giving to support a claim, if it follows, then we say that reasoning is deductive. However, inductive is the opposite. And how do I mean? If the reason do not support the conclusion, then you will say such a reasoning is inductive. That is, what I'm claiming, I don't have enough proof or evidence to back it up. Please note it carefully. And that's that about that because of our time. The next one is we should write short notes on any three of the following with suitable examples. Uh, Short notes on the following principles of identity. Okay, generally in logic, there are three principles. And please note this one. They can ask you and say, what are the principles of logic or what are the laws of thought? They are saying the same thing. The laws of thought and the principles of logic, they are the same thing. And there are three of them. The first one is called principle of identity. And what does this one state? This one states that if a statement is true, then it is true. Please note it. If a statement is true, then it is true. For example, if I say Mr. John is a rich man, if Mr. John is a rich man is true, then it is true. We cannot say Mr. John is a rich man and now say Mr. John is also a poor man. It's not possible again. So, principle of identity or law of identity states that when a statement is true, then it is true. States that when a statement is true, then it. I'm trying to argue because of our time. Maybe you can take it simple. So you can now mention the one you want me to repeat again so you can understand. But I'm trying to argue. Yeah, I get it. So if you have any question, please let me know because of our time. All right, now back to the principle of identity. We are saying that there are three laws of thought. Let me just mention the three so you can also note them. Number one is called the law of identity or principle of identity. Remember, either principle or law, they are the same thing. Laws of thought or principles of logic, they mean the same thing. The first one is law of identity. The second one is law of contradiction. The third one is law of excluded middle. Number one, law principle of identity or law of identity. Number two, law of contradiction or principle of contradiction. And the third one is law of excluded middle or principle of excluded middle. So those are the three principles in logic. I'm going to try to explain the three. In case you are asked, you just put it down like that. The first one means law of identity. And what does it state? This law states that when a statement is true, then it is true. When a statement is true, then it is true. Law of identity. That is, a statement is an identity of itself. For example, if Mr. John is rich, then he's rich. If Nigeria is the best in Africa, then it is the best in Africa because we can't say true and also say false to the same statement. The second one, although that one is not here, I'm only trying to explain the three principles. If you have any question, please let me know so that we can look at them together. All right. The second one is law of contradiction. This one states that a statement cannot be true and false at the same time. Please note it. Law of contradiction states that a statement cannot be true and false at the same time. A statement cannot be true and false at the same time. That is called law of contradiction. Please note it carefully. A statement cannot be true and also be false at the same time. The last one is called law of excluded middle, which states that a statement is either true or false. Now, this is how to the third one is law of excluded middle, and this one states that a statement is either true or false. So, if you're asked to, anytime you're writing the exam, that what are the laws of logic, or the laws of thought, or the principles of logic, all you are going to do is just itemize all these three. Number one, principle of identity, which states that if a statement is true, then it is true. The second one, law of contradiction. Some will say non-contradiction, it doesn't matter, it's the same thing. Either non-contradiction or contradiction, they mean the same thing. And what does it state? It states that a statement cannot be true and false at the same time. And the third one is law of excluded middle, which states that a statement is either true or false. So that's that about that. We have explained identity. If you have a question, if there's anyone you want me to emphasize, please let me know so we can do that. The next one is valid argument. Valid argument. Let me just go by saying, what are arguments generally? Argument in logic is not throwing blow. It simply means that a set of propositions having a part known as the premise and the other part known as the conclusion. All right, so an argument is made up of two parts. Number one, the premises or premise, and the other one, the conclusion. So premises can be 10, but conclusion is always one. Premises can be 20, conclusion is always one. So argument has two types. The first one is valid or called deductive argument, and the second one invalid or inductive argument. Remember, argument has two types. One is deductive or say valid argument, and the second one inductive or invalid argument. Now we have been told to define valid argument. So what is a valid argument? An argument is valid when the premises support the conclusion. An argument is valid when the premises support the conclusion. Again, an argument is valid when the premises support the conclusion. For example, if I say, okay, for example, so there's a question, somebody saying we should give example of fallacy. So, or types, there are different types of fallacy. We have appeal to emotion, we have appeal to pity, we have appeal to authority, we have appeal to ignorance, and many other examples. For example, when I say appeal to emotion, and this one is very common in law, when a lawyer is standing before a judge coming to defend a case, and the lawyer is saying, my lord, my client is just 21, he's an orphan, he lost his mother at 2, his father a year later. For the past 18 years of his life, he has been sleeping under the bridge. Nobody to take care of him, nobody to sponsor him. No wonder he has gone to Bogo and stolen a laptop from somebody or from another apartment. Now, when somebody presents such a statement, you can begin to feel emotional. So, in fallacy, this kind of fallacy is called appeal to emotion. What you are doing is you are trying to buy emotion from your audience. So, that's an example. Appeal to force means you must accept my claim if you don't want to be punished. That's appeal to force. All right. Appeal to ignorance is saying that because something has not been proven, now means that thing is not existing. For example, somebody can say, how can we say there is even anything called Jupiter who has been there and returned? Or who can say there's anything called heaven who has gone to heaven and returned? These are fallacy. We call it appeal to ignorance. So those are the examples of uh, fallacies. Now back to our conversation on valid argument. I said an argument is valid when the premises known as the reasons support the conclusion. When the premises support the conclusion. For example, if I say all men are mortal, that's an example. Premise one, which we can write, but it's okay. When we say all men, can I get a better mind? Let me do an analysis on the screen. So at least maybe just one. When we say, oh, because of time, don't worry. Let me just say this. So when we say premise one, all men, all men, okay. When we say all men are mortal, all right, that's an example. Premise one. Premise two, Peter is a man. Peter is a man. Conclusion, Peter is mortal. Now, I'm going to take my time to explain this aspect very well because oftentimes they will also give you 5 of argument like this and tell you to, in fact, in some years, past question, this is what they will only ask you. 5 arguments and and determine if the argument is valid or invalid. For some of you, this can be only 15 marks, so please pay attention. They will say, this argument determine if it is valid or invalid. How do you know if an argument is valid? Very simple. An argument is valid if the premises support the conclusion. What are premises? Reasons. Conclusion, what the person has in mind. Please pay attention to this one because, like I said, some years they will give you 5 and tell you to determine if it is valid or invalid. So all men are mortal. The word mortal means all men will die. We are now saying there is a guy whose name is Peter. He's also a man. Conclusion, we are now saying that Peter is mortal. Peter is going to die. So the question is this argument valid or invalid? Now, this argument is valid. Why? It's valid because we have said, please look at this in here, please. We said all men. When you see this thing is called generalization. Anytime you see all, it means nobody is exempted. So when all has been given, anything being part of the whole must share the value of the class of the whole. Again, if we say all is called generalization, if all men are mortal, if all men are short, if all men are tall, if all men are black, anybody who is a man must also be black. In fact, in logic, we call it the basic standard form of an argument. All men are mortal. All right? Peter is part of the men. So if all men are mortal, if Peter is a man, therefore Peter must also be a mortal. This argument, the premises support the conclusion. Therefore, the argument is valid. The argument is valid because the premises support the conclusion. If you want me to explain again, let me know so that we can do that. Can we go on? All men are mortal. Peter is a man. Peter is mortal. Another example. All polytechnic students are brilliant. So forget about your friend that you know who might not be that. If you say all polytechnic students are brilliant, it means any poly student is brilliant. Premise one, all poly students are brilliant. Premise two, John is a poly student. Conclusion, John is brilliant. That argument is also very valid and deductive. Please note it. However, if I say that John is a poly student and is tall, please mark it. John is a poly student and is tall. I say Peter is a poly student and is also tall. And I also say Binta is a poly student and she's tall. Janet a police student and she's tall. Ada is a police student and she's tall. Therefore, all police students are tall. This argument is invalid. Do you know why? I have moved from particular to universal. Why is it not valid? Because I must check all police students to be sure that they have the same value. If we say John is a police student and is tall, we have 20 of them, and police students are 21. The argument is not still valid. It will be valid if we check all the 21 students and all of them are tall. So, this is the logic. If you move from particular to universal, that argument is invalid. That is, you move from one to all, the argument is invalid. But when you move from all to particular, in most times, the argument is valid. Please note that one so we don't waste much time. Let me give you one example so we can use it to finish this one. Very common, and I think I've seen it most times too. They will say all lawyers are liars. Oh, can I write this one? Let me use just one. You get it with this example first. Black, okay. Then if you are still with me, please stay so we can. If you have a question, let me know. I'm trying to hurry up. Black marker, sir. Okay.
There are 3 videos.
Okay. 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 Relevance of logic. Okay. All lawyers are liars. Okay. John is a lawyer. Is a lawyer. John is a liar. I'm going to ask you a question. If you can quickly answer the question. Now, I'm going to ask you this question. Please make sure you answer. Is this argument on the board valid or in? I've explained to you. Is this argument valid or invalid? Please let me know the responses. Is this argument? Let me check it also from here, so I will know you are getting the gist. Is this argument valid? We are saying, I told you what's an argument. This is an argument also. My question is, they will give you 5 and tell you to determine whether valid or invalid. This is an argument. Premise 1. Premises are the reasons. Conclusion are the points you have in mind. All lawyers are liars. Premise 1. Premise 2. John is a lawyer. Therefore, John is a liar. This argument valid or invalid? Please answer. Let me see your answer. Invalid. Let me see. Let me see. I want to be sure. Valid or invalid? Let me see how well. Good. Let me see your answer. Let me see. Let me see. Please make sure you. Let me see the answer. Go ahead. Valid is a good. Valid. Valid. Well, that's nice. Let me see. Please let me see your comment if you think it's valid. I won't ask you. Somebody said invalid. Though. Now, why is it valid? Oh, now answer the why. Answer the why. I'm going to respond to that maybe later. Now, why is this argument valid? Let me see if it is valid. The answer is simple. Thank you for saying valid. And if you didn't say valid, please change it to valid now. This one is valid. I told you before. When you see all and there's a particular which shares the attribute of all, the argument is valid. We are saying that all lawyers are liars. Any lawyer you see must lie. It might not be true. Now, John is part of lawyers. So if all lawyers are liars and John is a lawyer, therefore John must lie. Because we are saying any lawyer you see is a liar. And John is part of the lawyers. Therefore, John is a liar. So this argument is number 1, deductive. D. Because I told you earlier, premises support the conclusion. Is deductive. And number 2, it is valid. Why is it valid? This is because, again, they will tell you to state the reason. And the reason is because the premises support the conclusion. If you can explain further, you can explain further by saying, if all lawyers are liars and John is a lawyer, John must also be a liar. Is that one fine? Any question on that? Is that fine? Good. Now, please stay with me. I want to show you something now. I hope you still get this answer. I'm going to change something now. I want to change John is a liar. I hope you will still get it at this point. And John is a lawyer. Please pay attention to this area. In fact, for some of you, you can only pick this aspect, the 5 arguments, and determine whether they are valid or invalid. And you have got 15 marks, and you are just good to go. Now I've changed something here. Please make sure you are still with me on logic. Is this argument valid or invalid? Let me see the responses. Valid or invalid? Please answer. Okay. Valid or invalid? Let me see. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Let me see your answers. Let me see your answers. Okay, I'm seeing your answers, responses. Let me see. Okay, this is beautiful. Beautiful. I love this. Oh no, it's not valid. Oh. It's not valid. Please check what's on. Check it. We have changed the argument. Check it out. We have changed something there. Now, this one, because of time, is invalid. I am using this question to explain the argument because you need to know it. That's what I'm doing. It's invalid. Why is it invalid? Please look at it. In fact, I remember about 3 years ago when they said this question, it was a big, a big contention to know if it is valid or invalid. This is the trick. We have changed something here. All lawyers are liars. They lie. John, somebody from anywhere, is also a liar. All right? And I'm saying John is a lawyer. Why is it invalid? It's invalid because John can only be a liar and be a doctor. We have not said that John is lawyers are the ones lying, not John. So if all lawyers are liars and John is not a lawyer, we cannot now say that John is also part of the team. It's not true. All lawyers are liars. John is a liar who can be a doctor. So it's not going to be logical to now imagine that John is a lawyer. John can be a liar and be a doctor, might not be a lawyer. There's a logic there. So, what is the reason for the invalidity? It is invalid because John is a liar who could just be a doctor, a surgeon, a teacher, a banker, or anything. So, the premises of this argument do not support the conclusion. Please drop your questions online if you have any, so we can begin to fly. Few things more before we close. If you have a question, please drop it out there. Is there any question to answer? No, I'm going to. So, syllogism, we are going to syllogism now. It's good. Now, so what is inference? Inference comes from the word infer. This is the ability to arrive at a conclusion from given premises. Please note it. Inference in logic is the ability to arrive at a conclusion from given premises. Again, inference is arriving at conclusion from given premises. It is called infer. We arrive at a conclusion from the given premises. Please note it. Again, inference is arriving at a conclusion from given premises. I'm giving you the short one so that we can have the very simplified answer to these things. Number 4 on this question still, what is a syllogism? Very simple. A syllogism can be defined as a type of an argument made up of 2 premises and 1 conclusion. Again, a syllogism is a type of an argument made up of 2 premises. This is a syllogism and 1 conclusion. Because there are some arguments having 10 premises, but when you have 2 premises and 1 conclusion, we call it syllogism. 2 premises, 1 conclusion, 2-1. Please note it carefully. All right, finally, what are the qualities of a fact? I told you earlier that facts are universal reality. So, what are the qualities? Number 1, it is open to validity. Number 2, we call it's open to validity. That is, you can check it. The next one is it is objective. Objective means when we say something is a fact in Nigeria, it's also a fact anywhere in the world. The third feature is universality. So number one, validity. Number two, objective. And the third one, it is universal. What does it mean to be universal? If a bachelor means somebody unmarried in Nigeria, in London is the same thing. So a fact is a universal reality that has the same value anywhere in the world. So what are the examples of a fact? Examples of fact are 7 days make a week, or a dozen is 12, or all bachelors are unmarried. These are the different examples of a fact. So that's how we'll be living it now. I don't want to dig it further, but let me emphasize something, please. When you get to exam and you have a question on argument, which is the center of logic, please read the question carefully, because the change of subject or object of a sentence can change the argument entirely. So pay attention to it. Know which is your main subject and the object, because what will change there is just to replace the bearer and the carrier of the work. All right. And number two, when you want to explain whether an argument is sound or unsound, let me see, I think I saw that somewhere too. What are sound arguments? Listen, an argument is sound if the premises are true and the conclusion is also true. When I said all lawyers are liars, it's not true. So this argument here is valid, but it's not sound. An argument is only sound when the premises are true. For example, let me give you an example of a sound argument. Example of sound argument is all bachelors are unmarried. John is a bachelor. John is unmarried. That one is valid, and also it is sound. Why is it sound? Because the premises support the conclusion. Why is it valid? The premises support the conclusion. And why is it sound? Because the premises are true and the conclusion is also very true. So I think that will be all for now. I think we have used it to explain other aspects. But if you have any question, is there any major question we can quickly attend to? Somebody is saying relevance of logic again, sir. Well, relevance number one, it allows us to uh, analyze arguments. Number two, to detect fallacy. Third one, it increases human reasoning capacity. The fourth one, we can say it makes us to identify errors in reasoning. Also, the other one is that it can help us to uh, differentiate between the sound argument and unsound argument. You can also say that it enables us to know the difference between valid argument and invalid argument. So that will be all for now on this table of logic. If there's any other question, you can please drop it on the comment section. We'll be able to engage them. So the video will be available. We are not going to delete, but we are not going to delete it so that we can watch it again and again when you are done. Let me just hold on now for uh, our lecturer to return and take us further so we can round up this part. Please pay attention to logic. Any question you have, drop it there so we can engage it. You can come back again and again to watch it, because it's always very available. So there are 3 videos on logic. We have done some teachings on logic, essentially. Argument has been tweeted, fallacies has been tweeted, and many other ones have been tweeted too. If you can, check them out, view them, so you can get other aspects together. Thank you very much. That will be all for now. Let me just hold on a moment.
Okay, thank you for your attention, please. Uh, we won't be able to attend to most of the questions that are here, but I want to assure you, you can go over the video again. You have that opportunity. It is going to be there permanently. After the live session now, it will be um, on the platform for you to view it any moment you want to. So you can pause, you can take your note and do some other things. Somebody asked a question that how can we read poem and understand? Now, one thing I've discussed with you in class is the fact that you cannot read poems like you read novel or some other text. You know, um, the language of a poem is actually figurative most of the time. It is not ordinary day-to-day expression. So you read a poem to understand. Sometimes you have to read if each of the stanzas has 4 lines in it. You're going to read the whole 4 lines before you can understand the meaning as a whole. And there are some of them you have to understand them line by line. The line itself, each line will have a complete meaning on its own. But there's something we call enjambment in um, poetry. So enjambment means uh, run on lines. That is, um, a line, the meaning that will be in an expression will not be complete in a line. You have to run it on to another line for the meaning to be complete. So you don't read poem like you read novels or your drama um, text. So make sure when you read, you give it meaning beyond the ordinary meaning, beyond the figurative expression. I'm very sorry I don't have any of the anthologies here. I will have taken one poem from it and maybe discuss some aspect of them. But what I want you to believe is just make sure when you read a poem, read it to understand. Are we still on? Read it to understand the basic message. Now, there is no way you will not pick a message in. Even from the title, you will be able to determine the meaning. Um, what message the poet is actually trying to pass across. You'll be able to determine that even from the title of the poem. So if you have that in mind, that you just have to read and understand the major lessons, then the way it is reflecting the society, the happenings in the society, then you are good to go. Then make sure you are able to bring out some themes, identify some themes. I gave you the examples of what we call theme. If a poem is talking about oppression, it has a theme of oppression. If it is talking about corruption, it is actually theme of it's actually projecting theme of corruption. Then there could be a time when a poem will be describing love. Then it has theme of love. It will also have theme of hatred, theme of war, theme of diligence, theme of um, um, desperacy, and some other things like that. So it depends on the aspect of life that particular poem is projecting. So that's how to understand it. But please, I will not be able to explain some of the things that I see in the comments here. You can go over the some people want me to explain some other aspects. Okay, uh, narrative essay. I have told you, narrative essay is any essay that wants you to give account of an event. That's the narrative essay. If you are okay, my first day in the Polytechnic of Ibadan is a narrative essay. You are going to narrate an event to us like that. Um, my um, my experience about an accident scene. That is a narrative essay. So narrative will ask you to narrate an event. That's narrative essay. Then argumentative will want you to belong to one side of an argument. Then expository will want you to explain something that is not clear to some people, explain a process of making or preparing a particular type of food. That is expository. So um, please, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you best of luck in your exams. And if there is any other questions you want to raise, you can still write them on the comment section. We are still going to be answering your questions via text, not this time around. The live session is going to end very soon, so we answer any question, replying to your comments. Thank you very much. Okay, another advantage is we are going to be posting some other videos now for some other courses. If you subscribe to this channel, now immediately we are on any live discussion, it will pop up a notification on your phone so that you will join immediately. So please do yourself that favor. That is that a favor? Yes, do yourself that favor by subscribing to this channel. There will be some other things, useful hints that will be posted very soon for most of the courses you are taking. Thank you very much. I wish you best of luck as you continue to revise for the exam, and don't forget to make sure you read, please read. Thank you for that person that has prayed for us. I say amen to your prayers. Thank you very much. God will reward your good work too. Thank you so much. All right, good night, ladies and gentlemen. See you another time. Uncle Sam, thank you very